Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're in grade 6. We're on Unit 5, and this is our last lesson before the unit review. So right away, I want to put a plug in for getting your questions into me about the unit review. As tomorrow, as you start working on the unit review, if a question is hard, please make sure to use our fill-in form so that I can focus my lessons on that particular question. I want each person to give me at least one question that's a little trickier than the rest. Because if I just did it all of the unit review, that would be like the world's longest video, and that would just be too much. You wouldn't want to watch it, and I wouldn't want to make it. So make sure you're looking for that form to fill in the question that you want me to do for the unit review. So now we're back to Unit 5, Lesson 18. So it starts out talking about taxis. And I want you to think, have you ever ridden in a taxi before? Well, some of us maybe did, maybe in Chicago or maybe in Minneapolis. Maybe we've traveled a little bit. We've gone maybe to New York or someplace where we have ridden in a taxi. If you hadn't, no big deal. You probably will sometime in your life. So here's the thing they want us to know about taxis. Taxis charge you just for getting in the door. So if you open the door, you get in, they've already started the clock. There's already some money that you have to pay. We're calling that the standard charge. Sometimes they actually have an additional charge depending on how much luggage you have or depending on how many people in your group. So if you have 5 people in your family, sometimes the price will be the standard charge before they ever start driving away will be more. Oop, my Roomba's starting. Hold on. For this question, we're assuming that the standard charge is $3. So no matter where you're going, how long it takes you to get there, how many people are in the car, they're just going to charge you straight up $3. So this standard charge is going to be the same throughout all of the other parts of the table. It's just going to be they charge you $3 just for being in the taxi. There it is. Now, in order to make any money, they need to charge by how far you go. If they only drove you just down the street to the grocery store, well, that would be pretty quick, and they'd be ready to help someone else soon. But if they need you to, you need to take them like all day. If they need to take you all the way across town or to the airport, or if they need to go somewhere and it's heavy traffic, well, that takes them a lot longer. And so they charge you more. So the further they go, they charge you. So in this particular case, they're telling us that they charge us per every 1/5 of a mile. Now, if you live out in the country, you drive miles all the time. But in town, it's not always how far something is away, it's just how long it takes to get there based on traffic and that sort of thing. So they charge us $2 every time we drive 1/5 of a mile. So this means we've driven 1/5 of the mile. That's how far the fare, we call it the fare. That's how much the fare was. The fare can be either sort of talking about the overall distance, or it's usually used to talk about the money, like the cost. So we went 1/5 of a mile. They're charging us $2 for every 1/5 of a mile, plus the $3 just for getting in. So that means our total dollars that we need to pay the taxi driver is $5. So if this is feeling a little confusing for you, partly it could because you just haven't done it before, and that's okay. But partly, no big deal. Let's go on to the next one. So the next one says that we're not going 1/5 of a mile. We're going, in this case, 3/5 of a mile. So there's 3/5 of a mile. Now, we've got to figure out what the cost is. Well, the cost for 1/5 of a mile was $2. We're going 3 times that amount because we're going 3/5. So it's 2 and another 2 and another 2. So the cost is $2 for each 1/5 of the mile. So we've got 2 plus 2 plus 2. We got 3 groups of 2 because we're going 3/5 of a mile. It still costs us $3 to get in. So now we have 2, 4, 6. $6 was how far we went. $3 is the standard charge. So now we have to pay $9. This is harkening back to one of our earlier lessons, but just in a different way. Now, what about 1? If we go 1 mile. Now, don't let this trick you. Sometimes kids get tricked. They say, oh, 1. Well, that's easy. It's $2. But it's not, because $2 takes us 1/5 of a mile. So instead, we need $2 5 times. So we need 2 for the first 1/5, plus 2 for the second, plus 2 for the third 1/5, plus 2 for the fourth 1/5, plus 2 for the last 1/5. So we need 5 groups of those $2. They still charge us to get in. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is $10 plus 3, 13. Now you can continue the chart, and I'm going to pause and talk about how to do the graph in just a second. Okay, we have an empty graph, and there are a couple things that give kids trouble when they're trying to create a graph from completely empty. First of all, they're sometimes not sure which to put on the x-axis and which to put on the y-axis. In this case, how they have laid it out for us, it only makes sense that the distance is going across the x-axis, because you can see if you count across what they have set up for us, they have just enough to go just a little bit past 2, and that's what our table shows. So we know that this is going to be 0, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, which is also a whole mile. 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, 10/5, which is also 2 miles. So the distance is going to go across the base. And then we have to go upwards to, once you figure out how much money we have, we're going to just count by 1. So they're not trying to make the graphing part tricky for us. But I want to talk about some of the things that need to be in your graph. First of all, we need to number, and we need to number. Now, I didn't write every single number in. You're welcome to do that. I didn't, and you don't always have to, but you do need to put enough numbers in so that we understand what you're counting by. In this case, I'm counting by fifths. And in this case, I'm counting by ones. Actually, you just can't see all the marks. So on each of those little ones, I'm counting by ones. So first of all, number on both axes. Next, what else? Well, I hope you said we need some labels. We need to tell what these numbers are. So down in the bottom, we need to say that this is the distance, and not just the distance, but the distance of what? The distance in miles, we need to say. And what about going up and down? Well, that's the cost. That's the fare. It's the cost. And what are we paying in? In dollars. There's the cost in dollars. Are we done? Nope. We need a title to tell what's going on in this graph. The title is sometimes one of the trickiest parts for kids, because it has to talk about the whole graph, what's going on in the whole graph. What could we call this? Now, they kind of are giving us a help, because on the table it says the cost of a taxi ride. Is that what the whole graph is about? It is. So let's use that, because that's the name of the table anyway. It makes sense that we name that our graph. So this is the cost of a taxi ride. Now, the parts that I'm not going to show you are, you need to figure out where the dots go, place the dots, and then connect them into a graph. And I will do that, and then I'll be back. But please don't just continue the video. Please pause and do that yourself, and then see if you agree with me. I'll be right back. Okay, I hope your graph looks something like mine. You notice that it just keeps going up in a straight line. So you need to plot the points. You need to connect the lines, and then put a little arrow on top to say, Hey, that it's continue going. You can't you it's not only 2 miles you could ride in a taxi. Some people, if they're taking it from their hotel to an airport, might ride 10 or 15 miles, or where they're going if they landed at the airport, maybe they're going to a family's house or something, maybe their family can't pick them up. So, you could ride lots more than 2 miles in a taxi. So, this line has to keep going. Now there's one thing we're still missing. Do you know what it is? All right. Hope you're noticing that the last thing we were missing is we needed these coordinates. So we put them right next to our point to tell what exactly those are. So I have 1/5 and 5, 3/5 and 13. So continue to fill those out. So good luck with this. On the next one, you'll see quite a difference in the graph. It won't just go straight up. It'll be kind of one of those that makes an unusual shape. We call that a broken line graph, but you graph it the same and it needs all of the same parts of the graph. Good luck. See you next time.